Welcome to the Forever Classic Podcast, the show seeking enlightenment through video games, films, and other geek culture. We're doing something a little bit different this time around. It's E3 season, probably one of my favorite times of year as a gamer. I've been watching this stuff since I was like 14. Which may not seem very exciting looking back on it. Like, I got excited to sit on the couch during summer vacation just watching, corporate people talk about video games, but it's always been one of my favorite things. And so this time for the podcast, rather than do like one massive episode, we're going to attempt to do much smaller episodes and crank them out just a little bit faster. So today, I've got Zack Snyder with me, as always.
Always.
It's so cool, man. Like, I really enjoy E3 as an event, really. It's like the Super Bowl of games.
Yeah. I treat it like right up there on par with, you'd say, like the League of Legends World Championship or Smite World Championships. I consider all those up there with like Super Bowl or like Final Four, like World Cup. Like I consider all those major events, and I think E3 is like the preeminent gaming event.
And it's not always been that. It kind of fluctuates here and there. We've seen PAX East kind of encroach on that a little bit. But regardless, E3 is a lot of fun, and a lot of major developers kind of hold their secrets and show their hand during this week.
There have been a couple really good ones. Usually, us here, we're pretty good at figuring out things kind of early from like leaks and sifting through what's fake and what's real. And there were still a couple surprises that got me.
I got a lot of leaks right before the one we're going to talk about today, specifically the one from Ninja Theory I already knew about. But, that's fine. Like, it's hard to keep information to yourselves, especially when you're working on a project that has so many people involved.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's impossible to see something be completely secret the entire time. I mean, there have been some curveballs, especially with Borderlands stuff, but still, it's all exciting. It's so great.
So we're pretty jazzed, in case y'all can't tell, because we just watched Microsoft come show their hand. They had a car on stage again this time, a bit of a twist to that. But regardless, Microsoft came out and Phil Spencer said that this is the most games that'll be showed on a stage at E3. Whether that's true or not, whether it's the most exciting games or not, we've yet to determine, because we're only 2 press conferences in as of right now. But it's still a lot of games. There was, I think, over 60, 70.
Oh, yeah, it was packed full, and I mean packed.
And that's the way to do it, right? Like, just show me games. That's what I want.
Yeah, no, I want to hear games. I don't want to hear talking about 1 or 2 little things that are constantly going on and ramble about them forever. Like, give me the hot flashes. Give me quick snips into things. Like, if you have some stuff that you don't have a whole lot of information on, just show me a little bit about it and be like, look at that. That's there, too. This is going to be something.
Give me things to Google, please.
Look at it later. Read up on it. Come find it.
But also put that information out there. Yeah. Like, put it somewhere. Just don't put it in your initial presentation for me.
Yes.
All right, so let's go through the list, Zach. I mean, they opened up pretty strong, I think, because this upcoming game is one that a lot of people are anticipating, because Bethesda has been kind of dropping the ball on this franchise, and it's from Obsidian. We already knew that it was in development. It's called The Outer Worlds. This is basically the people that made Fallout New Vegas, one of the, better Fallout games. And they're coming back with it hard. They've got a really, really cool game here. And it's coming out October 25th, currently, is what they're slating it for.
It looks exciting. I mean, honestly, it looks fun. It looks kind of quirky in, a Borderlands sense to me. And it looks nice. Like, it doesn't look like you're running around in, real world necessarily, but all the graphics on it look sharp.
It's got style, right?
Yeah, it's very stylish.
It doesn't have that kind of empty drab that we've gotten in the last 2 or 3 Fallout games. So I think this is something that a lot of people are really wanting to get their hands on, and I feel like the timing's perfect on it.
I think this could be a really good thing for, Bethesda Obsidian stuff. Like, it's looking nice. I want to see more of it. It shares a name similar to, what was it, Outer Worlds, Outer Wilds? They're really similar titles.
Right? Yeah, that's the confusion.
Games.
Outer Wilds is the indie game that came out that people are kind of interested in. It just hit the Xbox Game Pass, which is where a lot of people are playing it. And it is kind of like you're in a little micro solar system and you have several different planets and you're unpiecing mysteries based on a Groundhog Day timer. Like after so long the sun explodes or something and you got to start over. So you're trying to solve all these narrative mysteries, and supposedly it's a really, really good game.
Yeah.
But that's very confusing, right? It's so similar.
It is. But outside of the confusion, I mean, honestly, I think that'll beef up both sides, except for people who don't really even care about what they're searching up. They'll search up something, see it's not what they want, and ignore it. But otherwise, I think both games will benefit from their names being so similar, oddly enough.
Yeah, I mean, The Outer Wilds is out now, but yeah, it's supposedly really good, and it's something that I'd like to sit down and spend like a weekend on. It's also like one of those games that's real focused on exploration rather than combat, and it's not really what I'm like jonesing for right now.
Right. But coming up, whenever it releases, it might be what we're in the mood for.
Oh, Outer Worlds I'm pumped for. Like, that is definitely something that I am really looking forward to playing on PC specifically. So I hope it turns out really well.
Yes.
Up next, we got Ninja Theory's back in the game. So they were really put on the map for me when they created Hellblade. And it was like interesting, narrative-driven, really emotional story that's all based on psychosis. I recently played it on our Twitch channel. And they're coming back with a new game called Bleeding Edge. And this one reminds me a little bit of like Overwatch meets Borderlands. That style is being really, really popular right now that I think about it.
It's, first-person action combat?
See, I don't know. I'm just getting ready to pop into one of my other emails to see if I have a presser on that, to see, like, what genre it is, because it was a very character-driven trailer, so we'll see.
Yeah. Looks multiplayer, I believe.
Yeah, it definitely looks multiplayer. To me, it doesn't really pop as much as I would like it to. That game carries tout because it is Ninja Theory, and I like what they did with Hellblade. But I don't know how I'm going to feel about what they're doing with this particular game. So it's a melee combat with 4-player teams. Might be a bit of a MOBA style thing, perhaps. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of info on it right at this exact moment. Regardless, it's something that's interesting visually. All the character designs are kind of cool. So we'll see, I guess.
It looks weird. It looks very unique. It fits in with, like, this punky landscape, I want to say. I don't even know how to define it into, but it's going to be something that people are going to be interested to see stuff about.
It's being touted as a 4v4 brawler, whatever that means. So it might be a bit of a, like, team competitive multiplayer game. The Overwatch comparison, I think, is probably the most accurate right now, because I think that might be kind of what they're going for. Some sort of multiplayer, character-driven, can really push some merch, that type of thing. Like, this seems like the type of game that will market really well if it can find an audience.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm thinking that this is more of a MOBA kind of action. Different powers will have different effects, and you gotta layer them with your team based on what the other people are doing. That's what it appears to be.
Yeah, so it'll have different combinations, like nice synergies between characters, advantages and disadvantages, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, there'd be some of that, probably. The thing about it being a melee-driven kind of multiplayer, maybe MOBA game, is fascinating because it is Ninja Theory, who are very good at creating these really awesome melee combat systems. I like that character a lot, but I'm into eccentric girls with mech suits. That's like one of my favorite things ever. That's cool. All right, I like that character a lot. I don't know her name. There's not a name attached to it, but that's neat.
Yeah, was it there's a pirate with hands for feet or something?
Yeah, there's a girl called Buttercup that's also a motorcycle. That's kind of fun. There's going to be some really cool character designs, playing around with various shapes and sizes of the characters. Like, already we've got one real big buff guy, a little scrawny dude. Like, it's not like how in Mortal Kombat some of the older ones have basically the same character models. They just created like a male and a female and just layered different clothes on.
No, all of these models look completely unique.
There's a granny.
I see some environmental kills in a trailer, too.
I need more information.
Yeah.
But regardless, I like Ninja Theory a lot. They've made some really cool things.
They have.
I just hope this doesn't go the route of Battleborn, where it just gets completely overshadowed, because there's rumors of Overwatch 2 right now, so...
Oh, that's gross sounding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, either way, the alpha for this starts June 27th, for anybody interested.
Yeah. I assume that there's a sign up here somewhere.
I would imagine.
Probably on their website, yeah. To me, it's not nearly as interesting as the next title, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. This is a Metroidvania, dream. It's got all these ridiculous visuals. It's by a team that really nailed it with their first entry, and I cannot wait to see how this one turns out.
Yeah, and we had some of those guys on the podcast, right?
Yeah. Milton, I think, works for them now. He does some, level design or something for them.
Right, and was it the Metroid episode we had a guy that did stuff with them?
Yep.
Is that Milton?
That very same one. That was another Metroid 2 remake designer who got picked up by the Ori folks, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's a good dude, too. Wasn't he the guy that was, out in a lightning storm on his roof fixing his antenna to talk to us?
Yeah, he was, dedicated. He's like, I want to be on this podcast. I'm going to go fix my antenna.
Yeah, it was wild. I was super scared for him, but hey.
Yeah, we're like, is he going to come back?
But no, the game looks beautiful. Just a little bit of stuff that I caught from the conference, because I think I came in the very end of some of this.
Yeah, that's where I started watching, was at the very end of that trailer.
Like, the art's beautiful. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. There's lots of size play with, like, bosses. So...
Yeah, scale is a big thing in this. I mean, look at that spider. If you pick up the gameplay trailer that's available now on the Xbox YouTube channel, I mean, it is just awesome. And I think the character looks way better now. It has, rather than like a 2D look to it, it's almost like a soft 3D. Like, at any point I can pause this video and it looks like a 2D image, but in motion you can tell it's a 3D model.
Yeah, everything looks modeled in a 2D space, but I don't even know how to explain it. It's really nice. It's smooth. Mm-hmm. Everything looks very fluid.
Now, my thing with Metroidvanias is I don't know my opinion of it until I'm completely all the way through it. Because Metroidvania is one of those genres that I like to, like, take in as much as I can and then sit back and just kind of think about it. Those are my favorite type of genre games for that particular area of gameplay.
Right, and I like Metroidvanias, but I haven't really played them until recently with Hollow Knight, but they look so fun.
Yeah.
All of these are starting to look more and more juicy to me as we go. And you get to ride a cute owl.
I love owls.
Right? What is it? February 11th, 2020, though.
Yeah, it's the beginning of next year, but, you know, that's awesome. And speaking of Hollow Knight, that's a good game, and it's coming to the Xbox Game Pass, I think, now, actually.
Yeah, it should be there right now. The whole collection, like all the DLCs and everything included.
Yeah, super cool. The Xbox Game Pass is actually really appealing, and it's made even more so now because they have what's called the Xbox Live, like, Ultimate Pass or whatever, and it comes with your Xbox Live subscription, so you can play online, it has the Xbox Game Pass, and then it also has the Game Pass for PC, totally new. That's sweet. All for like $15 a month. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, that's a hair bit more than I've been paying for PlayStation a month. So, and this is more enticing because I can do it on more than just PlayStation.
Yeah. That's something that it seems like Xbox is really pushing for right now, is just offering their stuff in as many places as possible. And that was very apparent in their last major announcement, which we'll get to. Ori and the Blind Forest. I'm looking I need to play that first one. I've never played it. This next one is a horror game that I was 100% convinced was Silent Hill, and this happens every year because I just want another Silent Hill that's like got a lot of money pumped into it to the point where it's at AAA level, right? But Blair Witch is getting a game.
Yeah, Blair Witch was terrifying when I was younger.
I'm just recently getting into horror films as an adult, and most of them still really freak me out, so there's a whole like subgenre of films I won't watch. So I've never seen Blair Witch.
It's just suspenseful. Like, you're not meant to know what's going on. That unknown element is meant to scare you. And then with everything there, it's supposed to be very restrictive seeming. So like really knowing what's going on is super difficult for you to go with. So it keeps adding layers and layers and layers of fear on your character and you as a person.
Yep. I don't know. It looks like the type of game that I would be into, but I want to see more. Well, no, I don't. I want it to be out and for somebody to go, hey, that's a good game, you should play this. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't know. When it comes to horror games, for some reason, I'm more interested in not knowing anything and just going on a very simple recommendation.
I agree. I feel like to beat horror games, for me, I need to play them a bunch of times until I'm desensitized to things that I have difficulty with, and then beat it, and then bask in the story as a total at that point. So I don't want to know what's coming early. I just want somebody to be like, it's going to be very worth your time, or just avoid it.
Now, I'm completely opposite when it comes to horror films. I can't do horror films unless I know exactly what the premise is. I just recently watched Us. Great movie. Highly recommend it. But I had to go in knowing the deal behind it all. But you can't look at this main character in this Blair Witch game and not see the main character of Silent Hill 2.
Oh, yeah. He super looks like him.
I thought for sure this was Silent Hill 2.
Nah, it was all good until they said Black Hills Forest, but that's...
Oh, see, I never even caught that. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's him. That's fucking, what's his name?
Ah, man. But this would be exciting. I want to see more about it. I didn't know anything about it coming out at all. So
no, I had no idea about this one. So that's cool. I'm always down for more horror. We had a couple different instances of that.
Like peeking into some other people's articles, like even this writer at Kotaku saying that they thought it also was a Silent Hill reboot. Similarities.
Like everybody immediately was like, "Oh my god, Silent Hill," and it's being showed at Xbox. Cool. Nope.
No.
Sure is.
Konami would not be that cool.
No. Now, if you got like this as like a spiritual successor to Silent Hill, maybe it's got some of the same designers or something. Like that would be super cool.
Yeah. Give me that.
Next up on the list, Mr. Zach, is probably the biggest for a lot of people as far as like AAA releases, Cyberpunk 2077. This is a new title done by CD Projekt Red, the same folks that really took the Witcher character from the novels and created something really widespread and just phenomenal. Like, there are so many people that love the Witcher series.
I have never played The Witcher.
I read the books.
I don't really know much about it. All I know is Geralt of Rivia.
Yeah, and he's a great character. Basically runs around fighting monsters as his job.
It looks really cool. No, my biggest interactions with Geralt's been through Monster Hunter World.
Yeah. For me, it was Soul Calibur. He's a playable character in Soul Calibur 6.
This is one of the games that had a big curveball digging through leaks and fake news that I didn't see anything about, and that would be that Keanu Reeves is in this game.
Yeah, that was completely out of left field. I didn't hear anybody talking about that.
Neither did I. It was super surprising, and then he came out on stage and was like trying to talk to people.
There's this one person in the crowd that's like, "You're incredible," and he's like, "You're incredible," or something to that effect.
Yeah, he's like interacting with them. Everybody's cheering. He's like, "All right, so let me tell you about this stuff," and they're like, "Ah!" And he's like, "No, really, like, quiet. I need to tell you about this so I can do other stuff." And they're like, "Ah!"
I also thought that felt very corporate because he walks out and he just says, "CD Projekt Red, people cheer," and then he goes, "Cyberpunk, people cheer." I'm like, oh my god. I just imagine, like, all right, we're gonna give you this much money. All you gotta do is walk out on stage and say these 5 nouns.
Say whatever else you want and then point to the screen.
Yeah.
He looked like he was having fun.
We'll set you up. Yeah, it looked like he was having a really good time. Keanu Reeves is really kind of making a name for himself right now in the gaming space because we saw that John Wick game do fairly well on the Epic Store. And of course, John Wick is one of the like top franchises in film right now. I personally have never seen any of them. I hear they're really great action movies.
Yeah,
so,
I haven't seen anything about him either. There was just a major Fortnite crossover with the John Wick event, and you could get Keanu Reeves as an actual skin in the game, and it was great.
Yeah, and he's been a skin for a while, and I think that might be partially why his popularity, like, really, really boosted, was not only the quality of those films, but also that he's been a character in Fortnite as, like, a really hard-to-unlock skin for a long time.
Well, that's a little different. There was a skin called the Reaper that everybody called John Wick, and I'm going to say it here, too. That Reaper skin looks way, way more like Liam Neeson than John Wick.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's not exactly John Wick.
Right. But I think that was the easy way to call it, and that stuck. Now, when this event came out, it was literally like Keanu Reeves as a character named John Wick.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was a different, it gave you a variable, so him in his nice suit, and then afterwards it gave you like a skin transformation you could get that made his suit look tore up and his hair down.
The only thing that I will add to Cyberpunk is between this and the Star Wars game, we're getting a lot of generic white dudes in gaming again, but then they did say something about customizable characters, so I hope that you can do a customizable character.
Because you're supposed to be customizable. I thought it was supposed to be your own unique backstory, but honestly, I don't know from the trailer. It seems like you're going to be this guy picked up in a junkyard.
Yeah, now there is character customization, apparently, but there's got to be some sort of linearity there.
Yeah, and my assumption is in this junkyard you'll find pieces of other stuff and put yourself together as your character for the game.
Yeah, regardless, it looks like a really cool world. I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot of Cyberpunk in gaming, aside from, like, Shadowrun and a couple other little projects here and there. So it's cool to see somebody really tackle this head on, and I hope it turns out well.
Yeah, me too. It looks quite stunning, honestly. And they've been hyping it for a long time, so the hype keeps continuing to grow, and that's good to see.
Some of the other influencers I've seen on Twitter have actually said that this game looks so good that they're very surprised it's not a next-generation game.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised about that, too. I'm wondering if it will get like a next generation like sequel from this though.
Yeah, maybe it'll be one of those games that releases not only on like the PS4 but also the PS5 with like enhancements or something. I don't know.
Or maybe they're making it optimized for that one but also building it for this as well.
Regardless, we'll be able to play it hopefully as long as it doesn't get delayed. That's the caveat with a lot of these games we'll be talking about. April 16th of 2020.
Yep, so a little less than a year.
Kind of want it on PC, but I don't know if my little PC can handle it, so an upgrade may be in order eventually. We're getting ray tracing here soon for graphics cards, and that's got me really interested in playing Quake. Because you know me, as soon as they put out something ridiculous, I'm like, can I play retro with it? The next game that they talked about, as long as I haven't missed anything in between here and there, Minecraft Dungeons, actually kind of appealing. This is a top-down kind of Diablo-style game with the Minecraft license, and it looks like they're doing more than just using what assets are already available in Minecraft. There's a bit more creativity added to it, it seems. So, I don't know, it's an adventure kind of hack-and-slash Minecraft, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think this would be a really great portal for, like, younger kids to get into games like Diablo and stuff. It's simple, it looks cartoony, it's something that they're going to be intimately familiar with as massive as Minecraft is, so...
Yeah, for sure.
I think this will be like a gateway game. In a good way.
Yeah, this is the gateway game. I really hope that it has couch co-op. That way that, like, families can get together and slay some spiders and creepers and shit.
Yeah, because, I mean, right now, it's definitely co-op. Yeah, couch co-op would be great. We don't see that too much anymore, so...
Mm-hmm. And it seems like that since Xbox has gotten a hold of Minecraft, they're now starting to do a lot of things with it. We saw story mode, we saw expansions to the original Minecraft. They've got crossplay basically across any device. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on with Minecraft.
Yeah, and I haven't played it in years. I remember setting up my own servers just so that a lot of us could play together in the house on the same place. And those were wild. We got mods and shared them between each other. That way we could play specific things. And then shortly after that is when the handoff to Microsoft happened, and they really started ramping up so many new things. Like things that we were getting from the mods, they added in as part of the base game, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of those franchises that holds a lot of weight, so I'm excited to see exactly how this particular entry turns out, because just looking at it, it's got a lot of really sharp design. Colors are nice. The art style is pretty tight. It seems like things are fairly clean. It looks like it would be a surprisingly good game, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think this one could surprise us, for sure.
Hope they put it on Switch, like anything else. And they might, because Xbox is working really, really closely with Nintendo to make sure that Xbox Live connects you to Minecraft to everything else. So I think we're going to hear more about Xbox and Nintendo before the end of the week.
Right, and I'm excited for that. All of this still keeps showing more and more like Sony's getting left in the dust because they do not want to come out of their little zone.
I think they're going to drop some videos before the end of this and completely blow people away with things like the PlayStation 5, and Square Enix will undoubtedly put out something for Final Fantasy 7. So, yeah, I think that we haven't seen the last of Sony.
Me either. I'm still just really salty about their crossplay policy. At this point, it's too widespread and everybody wants it, so they need to stop resisting.
Yeah, and it's gotten a little better. I mean, we've seen a couple games start out with crossplay with PlayStation, Dauntless being the most recent one I can think of. So it's getting better, but it's not good enough. You're right.
Yeah, they really have to step it up and stop just being nitpicky about which and what.
Yeah. Up next is a game that reminds me a lot of Shantae, actually. This is Spiritfarer. It was announced also immediately after this Minecraft thing. It's a hand-drawn kind of 2D side-scrolling game, but it looks like there are building components and character interactions being at the heart of this. So one of the things that they tout is like this care mechanic, and also the ability to say goodbye. So I think that this is almost going to be like an Undertale style. You're going to get connected to these characters, and it's going to be really heart-wrenching to say goodbye, but really, I don't know, like, this game I think is the sleeper hit out of the entire conference. This is the one I'm most interested about.
This didn't have a giant reception. Like, a lot of people had some cheers for it because it looked beautiful, I'm assuming. It looks wonderful.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
The art, the collars pop. It's just pretty and happy looking. Nothing about it looks dark like a lot of the other stuff in the conference was, in a good way. But there's not a lot of info on it. I didn't have info on it going into the conference, so this is something that sounds like it's going to be great. I was really excited and immediately thought of a couple of people that I know who would love to play it.
I think that the Undertale comparison is really kind of perfect right now. This is from the same people that did Sundered, so this is Thunder Lotus Games. They're really well known for their hand-drawn, artsy style games. They're also the same people that did Jotun, which I haven't played, but I own a physical copy of. And so yeah, 2020 is when they're planning on putting it out. Here's a description on the Steam page. Spiritfarer is a cozy management game about dying. Ferrymaster to the deceased, you can build a boat to explore the world, care for spirit friends, and guide them across mystical seas to finally release them into the afterlife. That sounds incredible. First off, I think that there's a lot of themes that you could touch on with this style of design, and I think that this is going to be a tearjerker, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah. It's already striking me as having some people, having characters in the game have unfinished things they couldn't accomplish while they were alive, and you're there to help rest them, put them at ease, and then let them go.
And I love the character designs. They're so cute. I'm looking at the screen where she's like hugging the deer thing, and she's got this like star pirate hat. It's a very cute character. The deer has like 3 sets of ears. I don't know. It's just super unique.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like it in a while, and I want to see more.
I'm into it. I want to play this, and this is the one that I'm going to be reaching out to the developers and see if I can get more information on, because to me, this is the one. There's always one game in Xbox that I'm just like, whoa, that's what I need more info on. At one point, it was Cuphead. This time, it's Spiritfarer.
Yeah, the title art for Spiritfarer, the animation there on it's great. Like, the title design is wonderful.
It's so cool. I hope that the gameplay matches in quality. Like, I really hope that it has the gameplay loop that I'm kind of thinking it will. And if it does, this could be a super addictive 10 to 15 hour emotional experience. That's what I want out of this.
Right, and I have 2 wonders about it myself. One, is it more geared toward children, or is it more geared towards adults? And then 2 is, will it have something like the resident management system you have in, like, Starbound, where you can get residents that pay you, like, rent in that game, but in this game, just something different, so that it may not end.
Oh, like kind of a perpetual system or something?
Yeah, like it gives you like the main course of it, but then lets you just continue.
Kind of reminds me, the overall themes and stuff reminds me of that one Supergiant game about like basketball.
Basketball?
Yeah, well, it's not exactly basketball, but it essentially plays like NBA Jam. What is it? Pyre, that's it. Pyre, you like level up your characters to get better at this like basketball style game, but it's more of a narrative, like letting people pass on to the afterlife sort of thing. If it's anything like that, I could be all over it. So yeah, Spiritfarer. That's really surprising. I want to play it. Up next, we have the return of an arcade classic that everybody hates to love, Battletoads.
I am worried. I didn't really like the video on this Battletoads, but I loved the old ones.
Yeah, it doesn't have the pop that the arcade game specifically had, does it?
No. This is probably the one I'm worried about the most.
And it sucks, because that's one of the ones, like, when they announced it last year, I was like, ooh, that's awesome. Good for them.
Yeah, you know, I was expecting something to come back like old school Battletoads, just making it again. Like something else again, remastering it again, and re-releasing it something.
Do you know what it reminds me of? The fucking Shaq Fu sequel. That's what the art style reminds me of, down to like that style of I hope that's not the case. I really, really hope that's not the case. But man, I don't know about this one, guys. I want to like it.
Yeah, I want to like it. I love the Battletoads games. They were hard. I beat the one once, and that's been it.
Yeah, they're extremely hard.
It's got to beat 'em up. They were always a beat 'em up, kind of like Double Dragon.
Yeah.
That's where it fit in really well, and they had a crossover with Double Dragon. So there's lots of stuff they have the potential for, but I'm hoping it's a lot better than it looked. I need more to go.
So the company behind it is Delilah Studios, and I'm not sure what they have made yet. It looks like they do some porting. They're obviously working on Battletoads. They've got a game called Nothing to Fear, which is currently in production, so we'll see what that turns into. Overruled is another game of theirs. Janksky. I haven't heard of these folks, so more power to you. I hope it works out. It looks like they've also done some work on porting, like The Escapist, the prison simulation game. They did some work for Lost Words. So they've worked with Rare before on Sea of Thieves, it looks like, too, in a couple different areas. But regardless, that's the studio behind Battletoads. It's not looking good, but I could be surprised. It's all about gameplay with this one to me.
Yeah, the Battletoads, it had fun art, but the gameplay was the best part.
Mm-hmm. I do like that all the characters have a unique look to them now. That was another worry of mine, is that the Battletoads kind of all look the same, but these ones, they have like a very particular silhouette.
Yeah. Thinking about it, yeah, they do. So that's a lot better. That'll help. That's a good evolution, So
not super impressed with that one. Up next is RPG Time, Legend of Right. This is an arts and crafts style RPG that really incorporates a lot of cardboard cutouts, everyday items, a sketchy kind of look, like it looks like somebody sketched it out on paper. There's a lot of really cool animation being done with this game, especially with perspective, like things will start in the background and come closer to the foreground, and of course they get much larger based on perspective. So I don't know, this one looks really cool. My worry about this one is that it looks extremely slow-paced.
Yeah, it does look really slow-paced. I honestly don't understand what the premise is going to be, although one screen makes it look like it's going to have levels similarly to, like, Mario.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of, like, what has been done with Yoshi here recently, and Kirby.
Yeah, but this one I don't know much about, didn't know anything going into this about it, so I can't really form anything.
Yeah, it's completely new.
It reminds me of Drawn to Death.
I was immediately reminded of Dragon Quest. Let's take Dragon Quest and make it kind of made out of handmade things.
This is another game that I'm wondering is it geared towards children?
It seems like it might be. Yeah, looks like more of a kid-focused game.
I mean, that's good. That could be another gateway game.
Yeah, I mean, most of my favorite games were initially created with children in mind, so, again, I could be surprised, but this isn't one I'm, like, knocking down the doors to go purchase.
Correct. In total agreement. So what's next?
Into the End. And to be honest, I don't remember what this one looks like.
I don't either.
So that's not a good sign. No, not the Linkin Park video.
I got the same thing.
Oh my god, I can't even find it.
Now I'm getting Avengers Endgame. Yeah, I don't...
E3, yeah. Shit.
Alright, so even worse signs. We're not even finding anything on it about... Unto the End. Not into. Unto.
Unto the End. God bless America. Is that what it's called? Yeah, okay. Well, that's a PS4 thing. Is that the same thing?
That's from fucking 2017. Just kidding.
Here we go. Unto the End, alpha footage, shown at E3. Yeah. This one is by Big Sugar. It's got a really cool, like, layered, hand-drawn, almost construction paper look to it. And it's got a lot of really good, like, landscapes and framing. So, I don't know. This one could be really cool. It's like a 2D kind of hack-and-slash adventure game starring a guy with a big red beard. I don't know. If I saw this available on the Game Pass or whatever, and I had a weekend of just, like, no other games that I wanted to play, I'd play this on a whim.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those, like, This War of Mine reminds me of something like that. That type of sit down and play for a day and be happy and be done.
Immediately after this, we did have the Xbox Game Pass news, which we covered in brief. It's in open beta on PC starting today, and I'm pretty certain that you can pick it up for $1.
Yeah, today I think everybody can do the pass for $1. That way you can try it out.
And that's a good idea. It would have been better if it was free, because I don't want to put any credit card information in it. I just want to have it. And apparently they just recently updated the Xbox, like, app that you use on PC.
Yeah.
Which I have. Has that changed? I have the console companion. I don't know. Well,
yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know.
Regardless, there's a desktop kind of like downloady thing that you can pick up for the Xbox. Yeah, I don't know. I like to see Xbox games on PC. I was really craving some Gears the other night, and I wanted to play it on PC, but I just didn't feel like dropping the $20-some to pick up the new one. So I'm excited for it. I would love to see pretty much anything also be available on PC. So yeah, I mean, Xbox properties just make a lot of sense. It's Windows. I mean, come on. Next up was Age of Empires 2. So retro news there. It's getting a definitive edition this fall. That's a really well-loved game.
Yeah, I've sunk more hours into Age of Empires than I have into Civ. I mean, Civ's rather new for me to get into, but we played a ton of it in college. We all enjoyed the shit out of it, but I was really not expecting to see an E3 announcement about Age of Empires 2.
No, that seems like a weird place for it.
Yeah, it caught me off guard in a good way, but I didn't feel like it was really needed there.
Now, this apparently has been out for a while now on PC, judging by the Steam release, but there's a lot of little add-ons you can pick up for it, and I assume most of those add-ons will be bundled into the Xbox version.
I hope so.
I mean, it's always cool to see retro things stay alive with new versions or updates, you know, that type of thing.
Right, and I haven't seen a lot of, like, RTS stuff come to console in a while, so I'm pretty excited about this, on that hand.
So, Microsoft has also made another major studio acquisition. They had a bunch to announce last year. I don't remember any of them off the top of my head, but they just picked up Tim Schafer's studio, Double Fine Productions, and that's pretty big. That's a great group of people, and they have made some of the most wildly creative games in the medium, almost. Like, they're doing a really, really excellent job, and their big game coming soon is Psychonauts 2, which we got a new trailer for.
Yeah. I'm kind of interested in this one because it seems like it's just going to give me this blast from the past from Psychonauts. But then it also seems like it's going to throw in this, like, Inception for, like, a bad guy.
Yeah, I'm into the idea of Psychonauts because I never finished the first one, but I really liked what I played of it. So I'm excited to see how that kind of translates to the new style of game design and, like, let's get back to 3D platformers. Like, we've had some really good ones here recently in the indie scene, but not so many in the AAA scene aside from, you know, Nintendo doing what they do. So I'm into it. I like Psychonauts. I like shout-outs to Scott Campbell, who I've met a couple times now.
Yeah, shout out for it. This is going to be great. I want to see more about it, and I think it's going to draw a lot of attention just because of how big Psychonauts was before.
Yes, it's got that cult classic status that it's pulling behind it. It's the type of thing that I think a lot of people will jump onto, and the more platforms it's available on, the better. So they're thinking it should be out by the end of the year. We don't have an exact release date quite yet, but it is also coming to like PS4, Xbox One, PC, Linux, just about everything. I'm curious to see how Microsoft will affect what they're doing.
I hope it's in positive ways.
Yeah, I hope it's more of a funding support kind of way, because they really struggled there for a little bit, Double Fine did. They had a couple games not do nearly as well as they wanted, and then they came out with Broken Age.
Yeah, and seeing all this, they had a little banter back and forth up there on stage where they were talking about they do whatever they wanted, like in a joking manner, but the boss of Xbox was like, you know what, we just want you to keep making games. And that's a positive kind of thing to hear.
It is, and I hope that ends up being what it actually is, rather than just goodwill being shown on stage for the sake of it.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so too.
Tim Schafer has also really shown his support publicly on many a stage for the unionization of the video game industry, so I like Schafer a lot for what he has presented of himself. I just hope to see that studio really do well, because I think, again, they have some of the crazy talented people of this industry, and all of their documentaries and stuff they've made. It's just really fascinating to see what Double Fine does. After that, we had Lego Star Wars, and also, I guess, Lego Forza Horizon?
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
I was not quite expecting Lego Forza. That was pretty cool, though.
I was expecting a car. As soon as they pulled it up, and I'm like, there it is! Check that one off the bingo card.
Yep. That's a called shot there. And it was a Lego car. It was built out of Legos for that stage.
Which I didn't notice until after they came back around and they announced, oh, this is Forza Horizon with Legos. I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. And then they, pan around. I'm like, oh, that's a Lego car.
Yeah, it was full size, too. It was really impressive.
Impressive, cool, but also kind of, on the nose. Because you know that Microsoft has been getting flack about, oh, we've got a car. Look at how much money we have. I don't know. I've always hated the fact that they bring cars out.
Yeah, it's whatever. People like to show off their cars.
Yeah, I mean... After that, we got Lego Star Wars. They did announce that the next entry will include all 9 films, and that'll come out presumably after the last film, which is this year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be at the end of this year, around holiday season. So the next Star Wars Lego game we'll have will be kind of all-encompassing, and I'm into that. I like those games. They're kind of fun.
I'm excited to have the whole shebang in one package. I'm really curious because they called it the Skywalker Saga.
Well, yeah. It's kind of the beginning and end of Skywalker. Of course, we got that in the last Star Wars movie, but I assume that kind of carries on with some of the characters we have.
Yeah, so that makes me wonder what's coming next. Are they going to expand into, the old EU Star Wars stuff? And will that go into Lego form? I don't know. There's so much stuff.
I kind of hope to see them, recreate some of the classic worlds that we got in Lego Star Wars, because we've seen a couple re-releases that, here's the old movies plus the, prequel movies. But I want to see them take those old levels and really revamp them. That would be really cool. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that was done in the most recent one. I didn't play the new one.
Yeah, and the Lego stuff is always done really well.
Yeah. We also got an announcement of a Dragon Ball Z game. This is an action RPG. Looks like it'll tell the story of Goku, because we haven't seen that before.
Yeah, but new spin on it, so it's not like you're being a fighter, side to side, like you see in most iterations of all Dragon Ball games. This one looks like it's not necessarily open world, but shows you a nice open world.
Yeah, I think that Fighters, the Arc System Works created one that we got last year, the year before. That's a really hard game to beat, because that game just oozes style and captures what it means to be a Dragon Ball Z fighter. So I hope that this one really kind of allows the player to experience what it's like to just be Goku. And I kind of see this as an extension of the Legacy of Goku games in a more coherent, actually good kind of way.
Yeah, this looks a lot better than I was thinking.
It could go either way. It looks nice. It doesn't look particularly good compared to the stylings that we saw in Fighters, or even what we saw in the character designs of Jump Force. But I like Dragon Ball. I'm always down to play those stories again. They're kind of timeless.
Yeah, they're good. And to have them all in the same sort of package all the way through looks pretty nice. And I wonder how far it'll go through.
Yeah, that's my question. Clearly it starts in the Saiyan Saga and has some Frieza stuff. Does it go into Dragon Ball Super? That's what I want to know.
I hope it does, because there's some good stuff there. And I was seeing it and immediately brought me to, I don't remember what designer was playing with it. Was playing with making a Dragon Ball Z open world fighter game in the Unreal Engine.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It looked spectacular.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, so this makes me think of that, and if this sucks, hopefully that thought and that play feeds into that other fire really well. And if it's awesome, hopefully that other fire still gets fed really well, because they both look fun.
Either way, it's a really good time for licensed games. We've seen a lot of really incredible projects with things like Marvel Spider-Man from Insomniac. So I hope that trend kind of continues where people go, oh, we've got a license. Let's actually make something worth a damn with it.
We had a bunch of really bad, like, movie video game, like, things.
For years. Years.
Like, somebody would be like, oh, man, they're making a game after this. And I was like, yep, that's fine. I'm going to forget about that now.
Let's go through these next ones fairly quick because I want to touch on some of the bigger ones. 12 Minutes is a narrative kind of time loop thing. Top-down perspective, looks like it has a lot of different consequences and choices to make. So that one could be really cool. I don't necessarily like the fact that it's a top-down thing. It looks like it's got a lot of, like, emotion to it.
Yeah, the top-down's really interesting to me. Reminds me of things like a theatrical set. The concept is really interesting to me, though.
Yeah. I didn't even think about, like, theater.
Yeah. It's how you would see a theater set, honestly. And there's an old movie called Diggstown? I don't remember. But they played with the idea of doing this movie with no walls. Like, everything was taped out on the floor, and that was what was going on. So you saw everything everybody was doing at all times.
Immediately after that, we got Way to the Woods, a game where you play as an electric deer that, like, pulls energy from electronics into its horns to guide their way and, like, also, I don't know. It looks very cool. I'm actually into the idea. It kind of reminds me a lot of Wind Waker in style and music choice, and it could be really cool. There's some horror elements maybe in there.
Yeah, it's got a lot of, like, shadowy stuff, like Alan Wake or something like that. It looks fun. It looks very cute.
Apparently, it's been delayed a couple different times because in, I think, the very end of this, it says, coming 2020 for real this time. So they've had some, like, development issues, but it's made by a guy named Anthony Tan, so this might be a fairly small group making this game.
And that's good to see that it's on the E3 stage, though.
Yeah, I like that they had a full minute trailer for something like this at E3 during Xbox. It's really evolved, hasn't it? Like, we're getting a lot more independent kind of artsy things, and I like that.
They are leaning into the indie stuff, and that's important to see.
Now, before we go into some of the heavy hitters like Gears and Halo, let's talk about kind of one of the most blatant ripoffs I've seen in a while. Gears Pop essentially is Clash Royale. And I don't know, it could play fine, but it's like exactly Clash Royale, down to like the way the victory screen looks, and it's just weird to see like a series that's really mature and violent get this kind of cutesy treatment and then be marketed clearly to like younger folks. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, I don't know much about it because it looks like mobile game stuff, and I'm not up on any of that.
I've got so many thoughts on that could be a whole episode.
Yeah, we'll have to do that sometime.
Yeah. We also got a trailer for a game called Crossfire. It's basically Call of Duty Modern Warfare. In fact, that's what I thought it was until the title screen popped up. Regardless, maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need a Call of Duty-style bombastic action game that just doesn't have Activision attached to it.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'd play that, sure, why not?
Yeah, they're having a weird flea of employees lately.
We also got some surprising news that we were also kind of anticipating. Borderlands 2 is getting new DLC. It's available now. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I would not have seen DLC coming for a game made, almost like 7 years ago now? 10 years ago?
Let's find out. I'm curious. When did Borderlands 2 come out? 2012.
Yeah, so we're looking at like 7 year ago game.
7 years later, we get DLC.
That's cool. I mean, it has
it's so cool!
It has a ton of fucking DLC already. So if you've never played Borderlands, you should do it. Like, the Handsome Jack collections are on sale everywhere. They're free on the PS Plus.
It's like $6 right now on Steam. I'm, like, really considering picking it up by the time this podcast is finished, because that's just such a good deal. I don't know when it ends, but man, that's a lot of stuff.
And I did it. No, if you want to take it in PC terms, it's like $288 for $6.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's also on Game Pass. I'm pretty certain it's for sale on PlayStation Plus. Like, it's everywhere. You can play all of the things now in the PSVR version, so I actually really want to pick that up.
And to note, this new DLC, Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary, is supposed to bridge Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 3, and it's totally free.
Oh, is it free? Wow, look at that.
Yeah, it's 100% free.
Then again, charging for DLC for a 7-year-old game would feel kind of weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would probably be pretty salty about that, honestly. Either way, I'm excited about this. This is great. Borderlands 3 is going to, like, explode.
The marketing budget must be ridiculous for this.
I'm gonna imagine.
Speaking of DLC, but one that nobody gives a shit about, State of Decay 2. What that poor game, like I played the original. It was one of the first games I picked up on Steam when I first built a PC, but it was like okay. I got it for $10 I think, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. But then they released State of Decay 2 and it's the same thing, but worse somehow. So there's DLC for that. I don't know if people are into that. Sure, it looks like it's going to be a story-based thing with 2 different campaigns or 2 different perspectives. I can't reiterate how much I don't give a shit about that game.
Yeah, I'm not super excited for it. I never hear anything amazing that draws my attention to needing to play this, so I'm not really up on wanting to.
No, on the anime scene, though, we did get 2 announcements that are kind of exciting. I'll start with the one that I know less about. Tales of Arise is coming 2020. Looks like a pretty sweet little action game in the Tales of universe, which people are a fan of. I've always found it kind of tropey and, like, not great. Some of the, like, highly touted greatest, like, Tales of the Abyss and whatever, I don't like it. It's not my cup of tea, and I'm a big RPG fan. This one looks pretty cool. It's got some neat characters. There's a dude with, like, a helmet, and he, like, pulls a sword out of a woman's chest. Reminded me a lot of, like, Xenoblade. Could be cool. It might be the type of game that, like, again, I kind of stumble upon, and it's just, like, the right time.
Yeah, we'll have to see more as they give us some more information on it. I never had any more information on this one going into the conference either.
No, I didn't know anything about this. The only thing that I knew is that I saw the character art, and when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, this might be that new Ni no Kuni that possibly leaked. And then they're like, Tales of, and I was like, oh, I didn't expect that. The Tales series is like really anime, and, you know, there's a place for that, and sometimes I'm really into that, but it's just never been a series to really capture me. I kind of want to go through Tales of Berseria if it's on sale or something, but more importantly, I think, on a cultural level, Phantasy Star Online 2, a game that's been available in Japan for a while now, is coming to the Xbox One with all of the content available, and it's also cross-play, and it's free-to-play. To me, that's one of the most exciting parts about this Xbox conference. Like, that was a really, really cool surprise, and I had no idea about it. Like, we always kind of hoped that Phantasy Star would come to the West, but, like, this is a game that really got its feet on the Dreamcast with the original Phantasy Star Online, and that's a game that people to this day are still playing. Some of the combat actually inspired, I think, Monster Hunter, in a way.
Yeah, everything looks really spectacular for it. It's something that I would want to try out. Like, I'm not big onto MMOs, and I haven't been for years, but honestly, this one's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's cool because, like, a really over-the-top mix of fantasy and sci-fi. Like, it's those 2 genres mixed together in an anime setting, and it just works somehow. I don't know. It's, like, super cool looking. Big laser swords, anime hair, like, sure, alright. Crossplay, I'm into that. I wonder if it's just Xbox and PC, though. I wonder if it is coming to, like, PlayStation and Switch, because I swear that it's available on the Switch in Japan, but I could be wrong. No, it's on Switch. It's also on Vita. What the fuck?
Oh, wow.
That's what I want to play it on. Maybe that's what we'll get for the limited run announcement. Oh yeah, we're doing a Vita, like, the last thing we're doing is Phantasy Star. How cool would that be?
That would be wild.
That's my other, like, real quick gripe. No, like, E3 schedule online. Most of them leave out limited run, and that irritates me because I love those folks. They did a really funny one last year, and some of their announcements were kind of fun.
So what other little ones we got?
So the big ones really are the ones that are left. I mean, Gears 5 looks pretty cool. They announced a new game type called Escape that's a 3-player kind of co-op thing. I'm assuming it's a bit of like a Left 4 Dead situation, where you're in a bad position and you're just trying to get to like a safe area. So that could be cool. Apparently there's a test coming out soon for that. We got a release date for Gears 5, followed by some pretty artsy use of Billie Eilish. That's okay. September 10th this year. There's a pre-order bonus that gets you a Terminator character pack, which I did not expect.
I wasn't either, but I wasn't expecting a new Terminator either.
No, that's new too, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that was announced. We didn't hear anything about Gears Tactics, which I find surprising. That was the other game they were like talking about last year.
The closest thing to a Tactics something I saw was Wasteland.
Yeah, Wasteland 3. Wasteland 3 looks kind of cool. Takes place in Colorado.
Yeah, all in all, I am excited, not about Gears 5 as Gears 5. I'm really actually kind of excited about that Escape game mode.
That could be cool. I want to be excited about Gears again, because I've yet to play the 4th one, but it just feels like some of the spirit of Gears was kind of wasted when they started adding, like, killer robot. It's just not necessarily as terrifying as the Locust, or as interesting for that matter.
No.
So I would like to be excited for it. We'll see. It looks like they might have added a subtitle this time around. I'm not necessarily sure about that, but that's what it appeared to based on their trailers. If you are really into multiplayer, though, one of the best ways to play the Xbox is the Xbox Elite controller, and there's an updated version of that coming. That's actually really exciting for me because I love controllers, and this time around they've added probably the most interesting feature for people that have the Elite controller is that rechargeable battery, and they're saying that it can go up to 40 hours. That's really cool for a high-end controller, and it's Bluetooth, so you could essentially use it on lots of different devices with a very simple adapter.
Yeah, that's an exciting piece. Like, I would love to be able to use that thing on computer nice and easy.
Yes. Yeah, I would love to have one specifically for PC play. It also is a very sharp-looking controller. I like electronics that are, like, heavy and well-made, and I was really impressed with the original Elite controller, so we'll see how this one turns out. Another quick game announcement. We got another trailer for Dying Light 2. That looks okay. The main character apparently is infected. His name is Aiden. There's some factions and stuff you fight there. I don't know. It's a type of game that I hear is really good, but I just never sat down to play it. The big one... Well, let's talk about this one before we jump into that. Zach, this is probably one that we could spend an entire episode on, and I cannot wait until it comes out. Elden Ring.
Oh, man.
From Software, Hidetaki Miyazaki himself, plus George R.R. Martin of Game of Thrones fame. That is perfect. I'm so pumped.
Yeah, I'm expecting lots of high fantasy, lots of detail, lots of narrative, lots of lore.
The imagery in that trailer was incredible.
Yeah, no, the image is wonderful. I'm just going to start off with the one thing that made me and Lauren laugh a lot was seeing giant dwarf Ganon.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It was like a really big, kind of shorter squatter Ganon, and it's cool.
Yeah, it was strange. Something out of the ordinary. Shows me that there's definitely a lot of fantasy in it, and he was like surrounded by like normal-sized people, and they were all dead.
I hope that it's as good as it looks.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's good. I'm gonna say I'm hyped for this one.
So Kotaku does have a quote from Miyazaki for it. He says, "This is a From Software title through and through. We sincerely hope you look forward to it. No release date, no even like release window, but we do know that it's coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC at the least. No word on what type of game it is, though. I only assume that it's the type of like adventure-y, like Dark Souls-y style game that we come to expect, but I don't know." Supposedly there's a lot of Norse influence, and you can kind of tell that based on the trailer. Regardless, I hope that this partnership works really, really well.
That would be really nice to see, because the creative design elements that From's done and all of the other stuff too, combined with somebody who has that fantasy author like godhood of like George R.R. Martin with his Song of Fire and Ice, can really, really bring a lot of really great elements to a game if they mesh together well.
One of two things will happen. Either they will kind of balance each other, because if you think about it, From Software is all about showing and not telling, and leaving breadcrumbs for the player to find. Meanwhile, George R.R. Martin is just like a vomit of detail. And so it'll either like make both of those elements far worse, or it'll balance each other out to make something really special. Regardless, I'm there for it. I love From Software, I love Dark Souls, I love Bloodborne. So Zach, the last thing that I want to bring up, and this is the big one, Xbox did announce that they are releasing a new system. They're calling it Project Scarlet. We already know that. It's coming out holiday of 2020, so by the end of next year, we will be playing on the new Xbox, and it's one of those things that they're touting like, this is the most powerful console. We're working directly with AMD to really proprietary develop these things. But the biggest thing that I think that gives this console an edge is the fact that they are releasing it with Halo Infinite.
Yeah, and that's a good sign. That'll be a really good flagship project. Halo's always a solid flagship something. Maybe not 5. 5 didn't sound very good.
It wasn't. I played it.
But it looks interesting. So I don't know why Master Chief's floating in the air and why that ring looks like a world. But either way, the main character there, the pilot guy, was pretty heart-wrenching.
Yeah, immediately that Halo Infinite trailer, like, put us in a position where we care about what is happening to these characters, and I think that's a really good sign. It kind of looks like they might be taking pages of, like, the design elements of Iron Man as well, because we see the suit come down and it's, like, heavy, and it's made super apparent in the way it's presented. And then you get some of the, like, digital UI stuff. Master Chief himself still sounds like he has literally no personality whatsoever, but I don't know. It's one of those games that, like, I care a lot about immediately.
Yeah, I'm really interested in whatever's going to happen with it.
And from a marketing perspective, the best thing you could do is ship it with Halo, right? Like, that's what Nintendo did with Zelda, and it worked extremely well for them.
Oh my god, yeah, it worked great for them.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about at the Xbox conference? What is our, like, conclusionary thoughts? That's not a word.
In conclusion, I would believe that Xbox had a really solid conference this year.
Yeah, they kicked it off pretty well, I think. Lots of games, lots of, like, things that we want. Like, we want to know about Halo. We want to know about Gears. We want to know what the next console is going to be and what our, like, options are for game streaming and, you know, all this and that. So I'm excited to see what they do. I'm glad that they made it a point to say we are going to make a console that plays games, not just a box that also is a stream. Like, they're going to do a little bit of everything. They're going to have cross-play, game streaming, subscription-based things, download options. It seems like this time around, Xbox is going to go for quite literally anything and everything.
Which might really play in their favor. I mean, like you were saying earlier, we don't know what Sony's going to pull out with their state of play sort of thing that they're going to pull up. But honestly, right now, they're slaying competition. They have got the hype, and I'm excited. That being said, we have Nintendo coming up soon, which is going to have some nice competition towards Xbox. I mean, it's not going to be as big, but we're going to see a lot of games that people have been wanting for years, like Animal Crossing.
Metroid,
hopefully, yeah. So it's an exciting weekend. Like, this E3 is, like, pretty exciting just in general. The last couple I haven't been overly excited about, but this one's pretty good.
Yeah, I think overall this is a great year for E3 because there's a lot of things, like, really hitting its stride. We're getting an VR showing here soon in the next day or so that's really cool. We're actually going to have a lot of different developers come together to talk about VR. We're going to get the limited run presentation. We've got Devolver Digital, which is always really meta and hilarious and violent, and I love it. Can't wait to see what they're doing. Nintendo's going to hopefully drop some bombs. They're in a really good position right now because of the, like, sales of the Switch.
Yeah, they just popped out on everything. It's going to be exciting.
I think overall I am most excited about Square Enix specifically because of Final Fantasy VII. I really think that they're going to put out a demo. But overall, Xbox, pretty good job. I'm really excited for the next generation. Less about what's going on currently, but I like that they're creating more options with streaming and cloud service and the Game Pass. And some of the games they're showing look pretty fantastic. So Xbox, if you were to give them a score out of 10, what would you get them, Mr. Zach?
Xbox, I'm going to give them nice, solid 8.5.
That's what I was thinking. Like, right when you said that, I was like, 8.5.
Yeah. No, I mean, they're not 10 out of 10, blowing everything out of the water, dropping fucking nukes everywhere on our minds, but everything they dropped was nice, solid, and pretty looking. They have a lot of exciting potential. Nothing that's solid in the hand right now.
I'm not excited about Xbox today, but I have a feeling that I might be the next time, like, we get a console shift.
Yeah, once we get this next console generation boasted out, Xbox has got my attention now.
Yeah. Regardless, you have my attention, Xbox. So yeah, this was our micro episode that went a lot longer than I anticipated. We're going to try to edit this out and get it out the door. So thank you all for listening to this E3 Xbox edition of the Forever Classic Games podcast. As always, you can find us on pretty much anywhere on the internet. This week is all about video games. Be excited about video games.
Yeah, give love to your favorite person today. Just give them a shout out on some sort of social media. Tell them you love them.
Yeah, let's tell the creators that make these things that we appreciate them. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Again, thank you for listening to the Forever Classic Games podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Zach.
And we hope that you have an awesome day. And as always, stay cool.